we're not in competition with anyone in the world but us. And anytime anyone around us is successful at anything, all that should do is inspire us to innovate, to put ourselves out there, get out of our comfort zone, and tap into our unique purpose.
Wonder, defined as a feeling of surprise, mingled with admiration, caused by something beautiful, unexpected, or unfamiliar. I believe that whenever we can infuse this kind of wonder into our work as leaders, amazing things can happen. But as we age, we grow up, we get jobs, do what we're told or what's expected of us, and we forget wonder, the magic of being able to ask, what if? Because after all, this kind of innovation is a gamble, right? But just because it's a risk doesn't necessarily mean it will fail. How do we infuse that kind of wonder into our work each day, especially in businesses where talking lions or a happy-go-lucky mouse wouldn't normally make sense? Our next guest is the embodiment of just this kind of thinking. Saul Blinkoff is an inspirational speaker, Hollywood filmmaker, and animator for places like Disney, DreamWorks, Netflix, and so many more. Some of those Disney films include some classics that make my heart sing as a Disney enthusiast. Things like Pocahontas, Tarzan, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and so many more amazing classics. Saul has also directed high-profile commercials for clients like Best Buy, Dunkin' Donuts, ESPN, Mercedes, and has consulted for animation studios internationally, which makes him the perfect Bippity Boppity and business guest. But there's more to Saul than just his professional life. Saul is also a podcaster, and he has a great show called Life is Awesome. Before we go into Saul's career, let's dive into the heart of his story and learn where his creative passions all began.
So good to be here. And I have to tell you, I love the title of this podcast. This is so great because it just shows in the title, you can combine Disney magic with business, with life. It's just, what a great title. And it's just the BBB, Bippity Boppity Business.
Exactly. I really
So
appreciate
good to be
that.
here.
It's
Yeah.
so good to have you. The reason why I really wanted you on the show is we met at PodFest in
Right.
Orlando and we had a connection. Last time I met Mr. Saul, I was a little fangirl, but now I'm all posed and calm. I was so emotional, but it's because his speech really touched me. The way that you spoke about your journey to becoming a filmmaker, animator, and the message after that. It didn't stop at what you wanted to do. It stopped at how you wanted to impact the world.
Yeah.
And how you wanted your legacy to be left behind for your kids, for artists that are aspiring to be in this industry. But something that really I thought was important was that kind of passion in art is kind of lost in the world of business. A lot of people in my industry, I work in B2B, so it's very corporate. A lot of content strategy and consultation around topics are very like businessy, right?
Right.
But then I come in and they're like, who's this weird Disney girl like trying to make it all fun and whatever, right?
You're sprinkling the pixie
We're
dust.
sprinkling a little pixie dust
Right.
in. But I think it's important because when we do work that's meaningful and when we work from a place of passion and excitement, that's true impact. So from you, I felt that authenticity.
Oh, that's
so
so
I'm
good.
so excited
Thank
to talk
you.
about that. And to kind of weave us into this story is this idea of wonder. So when was the first time that you experienced wonder?
Wow. Ooh, I've been interviewed on many podcasts. I've been interviewed for years and I've never been asked this question.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the best questions I've ever been asked because you're making me really have to dig deep. But the answer, I just like did a flashback. You remember Ratatouille when he like flashes back to you as a kid? Like,
Yes.
Right? I just flash back to 7 years old and my parents were divorced and I'm a middle child. So that's a great recipe for a kid that is struggling,
Yes.
right? Middle child syndrome, parents divorced. And I always had the feeling of wonderment. It's going to sound corny, but when I would climb trees, and when I would get up there, wherever that tree landed, above, I felt that sense. As a matter of fact, I remember my uncle, I must have been even younger than that, 4 or 5 years old, and there was this one tree outside my grandparents' house. And I have a twin sister and a brother. And my uncle would just take each of us and just lift us up and put us in the tree for like a minute or two. And then he'd take us down. He'd put the next kid up. And I just remember waiting for my turn. And I finally got up there. I was like, oh, wow, I'm up there. This is amazing. The air, the leaves, the birds, amazing. Then I would come down. I'm like, oh. So after he put me down and then it was all done and everyone walked away, I went over to that tree. And I was like, can I get up that tree myself? But there were no branches to climb on. It was just the trunk. The branches were too high for me at 6 years old. And then I remembered cartoons that I would watch. And in this cartoon, this bear would hug this tree and just inch his body up. You ever see that kind of thing,
Yes.
right? You can picture it, right?
Yeah.
Like a bear, right? So I'm like, maybe it'll work in real life, And by the way, any kids listening to this, don't try cartoon stuff at home. You cannot... leap out over a cliff, be in the air, pause for a minute, and then fall safely. It doesn't work, right? But anyway, I just started inching up like this bear, and I got to the top of that tree. And I think that the wonderment that I felt wasn't just being up in the tree. It was me growing through that experience and ultimately feeling empowered to be able to achieve that feeling on my own. And that really set the stage for me for wonderment and how to achieve it. Music is also a really big deal for me. I remember just being in the car and whenever I was allowed to make the volume a little bit louder than my mom wanted, music would take me away. And even now with our kids, we have 4 kids. And when I listen to music in the car with my kids, we pump it up and we're like soaring to music and we're listening to the E.T. soundtrack. And we went to see E.T. at the IMAX and we put on that E.T. soundtrack. And we just cranked it up. The kids were like soaring and, achieving that feeling of wonderment,
Right. I think that feeling is so powerful because if you can grasp that and hold that into adulthood,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's part of the recipe of what creates meaningful work that has impact.
Right, because, wonderment really is, there's many ways to define it, I think. I guess it's different for each of us. But for me personally, wonderment would be that sense of when you're a little kid, I could just think back to being a dad and when my oldest was 1, just could start taking those first steps. When you walk down the street with a child, it takes, especially my daughter at this age, I remember you walk down 1 block in front of our house, it would take an hour.
Yeah.
Because she noticed everything. She noticed every rock and leaf and creature. There's my Pocahontas.
I love it.
Right? Rock and tree and creature. Somebody's going to correct my words. Like, that's not the words. You worked on Pocahontas? That's
I'm
not
sorry. Did you even work on
I know.
Pocahontas?
Come on. I didn't write the lyrics. Cut me some slack, So, but we walked down the street with my daughter and she noticed every flower and she would talk to them and every rock, everything was new. And I think the older we get, we walk down the street just to get to where we're going. We don't stop and appreciate life around us. And wonderment really is, I really believe it's the ability to experience life in every aspect of it. We're so focused on, I got to achieve this agenda. I have to achieve, especially in business. I have my business goals I want to achieve. By the way, when we're with our kids, if you're a parent listening, right? It's like, I got to go pick up my kids from school. Yeah, you have to pick them up. But when you're in the car with them, how do you connect with them? And how do you show them the beauty of being alive? I'll tell you one corny story. So when my son was 6 years old, I think that's that magic age where you really better hit that wonderment with kids and never let it go. We were going to go to Home Depot, and he'd never been there before. And I'm like, how do I make Home Depot Disneyland for him? Which is pretty easy for a 6-year-old. So I basically said to him in the car, I'm like, hey, his name is Asha. I'm like, son, Asha, like wood has different looks, like there's darker woods and light woods. He's like, yeah, I know what you mean, Dad. I'm like, did you ever notice that wood has different smells? He's like, no, what do you mean smells? I'm like, yeah, wood has smell because wood comes from trees and different trees smell differently. You have a cedar tree or even an oak tree, right? Birch tree. And we're going to a place that sells tons of different woods.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, right? So, and we go there. And I take him to the wood section, and he's like, whoa, and he's putting his nose up to all the wood. He's like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Guess what? It's Home Depot. There's a whole section of plants and basil and flowers. I'm like, there's a whole jungle there. So I could have walked through the store and be like, oh, I got to pick up this thing for the toilet that's broken. Come with me, son, quickly. We got to go. I could have left in a second. Or I can spend an extra 10 minutes or 15 minutes and make it like Disneyland for him. And guess what? Even when I go to Home Depot on my own, I can stop and appreciate being alive at Home Depot. Yeah, if you ever come to Home Depot in my neighborhood, you might see me smelling wood. It might happen.
It might happen, but that's something that is so important because it's a perspective that not many people have.
Yeah.
And I think about what makes somebody a fan of something, what makes a piece of work, a movie, a piece of content, whatever, a book, super exciting. And it's because of that ability to infuse wonder in the work, but it's also because they are not afraid to share the process. To take us on the journey to make us feel like we're a part of that story.
Yeah.
Because good stories don't happen when we have a storyline where it's like, this guy did this thing and that was it.
Right.
Like nothing, no one's perfect. So we can't relate to perfectionism.
You need conflict for story, right? Because ultimately, when you have conflict in story, conflict reveals character, right? The only way to know who someone is to know how they react to the tests that life has around us. So when Walt Disney created Disneyland, I say to you Disneyland now or Disney World, you're like, oh yeah, I know the place. You see, before Walt Disney, there were amusement parks. He created the first theme park. Yes. No one had the word theme park before. What's the difference? It's what you just said. It's story. But back in the day, before it was invented, before he created it, people were like, what do you mean Disneyland? Like Disney, you're a TV show, you make movies. What do you mean a land? I don't get it. And he's like, I want to make an amusement park. He's like, I don't want to just create a place where people can go on rides and have fun, because then that ride is like for 1 minute and it's over. But the story, when you go to a Disney attraction, you're leading up to it, and the flowers and the music and whatever's there to get you into that story. And when Walt Disney was creating Disneyland, he had a meeting with his investors, and he showed them the plans. And they're like, this is really awesome, but where's your roller coaster? He's like, well, the roller coaster is going to be back here. It's the Matterhorn. It's in the back. Like, wait. Why don't you put that in the front of the park?
He's like, it's an emotional roller coaster.
That's right. And he's like, no, you don't get it. I'm not going to put the roller coaster in the front of the park. We're like, that's your best thing. He's like, no, it's not my best thing. The thing I'm going to put in the front of the park is Main Street, USA. They're like, what's on there? Rides? Like, no. Penny Arcade, ice cream shop, like little shop, little cafe. They're like, there's no ride. I think, no, there's something better. See, when you walk into a Disney theme park, when you walk into that park and you get around the bend and you see that castle at the end, and I don't care if you're with kids, with your husband, your wife, your friend, your whoever, you're alone. For a moment, you see that castle and it's like, wow. And then you walk together with whoever you're with down that street, and you're getting the nostalgia of American history, of American values.
Right.
You're getting, and that's a time in Walt Disney's life that he loved. He loved that Norman Rockwell-esque small town feel, and he wanted us to experience that. And just think about it. Those people have been to Disney before. When you leave Disney at the end of the night, your kids are tired, you're exhausted, they're in the stroller, ice cream is dripping down their arm, right?
Yeah.
You're exhausted and tired. When you leave that park, you leave together. As a matter of fact, the reason Walt Disney created this park at all was because he was at a carousel ride in LA at Griffith Park. It's a true story. He was watching his kids on the carousel, and he's like, I know that's fun for them, but what do we get to do together? And the reason he also created Main Street is like, I want you to walk with your family together. Yes. Okay, when you get down the other end, maybe one kid's going to go on teacups and one's going to go. You will have your time to split up, but I want you to start together, because he embraced those family values. And at the end of the night when you're leaving and it's that magical hour, it's dark and the fireworks just happened and like the sparkling lights, you still hear the music, right? It's the magic. It's the nostalgia. You don't get that at Universal Studios. No. You don't get that nostalgia. It's like, let me just go on Jurassic Park. Let me go on that, right? You don't get that at any other place. But Disney is like, I want you to have the nostalgia, not just for Main Street, but for your family, for the people you're with. I want you to connect. And ultimately, that will be a taste of a wonderment that is much better than a roller coaster.
I agree. And I think when they're not only connecting to the child, they're connecting to your inner child.
Oh, beautiful.
And I think when you find a way to relate to your inner child, whether it's a book, a movie, like a commercial for a product or a service,
Right.
the ones that relate to your inner child, I've just seen a trend where it's like, obviously they're going to be successful.
Right.
Because we're accessing something deeper.
They're tapping in there.
Yeah, it's more meaningful.
Yeah.
And I think the first time I experienced wonder, I was like, I think 4 or 5. I can't remember exactly. But my mom, if you're watching this, you remember. I went into a Disney store and I saw like a Cinderella jewelry box. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. It's like pink. It has blue on the top. And when you open it up, it plays
There's the
Bippity Boppity
music,
Boo
right.
and whatever. And I was so fascinated that music would come out of the box when you would open it.
Wow.
Which is interesting because now as an adult, I'm like, oh, it's a music box.
Right.
But back then, you're like, there's a box.
Because
and
the first time.
Right. And I just feel like that moment was so pivotal for me and this. It's the constant pursuit of wonder in my work.
Right.
It was like the beginning of it.
Keep opening those metaphoric boxes.
Exactly.
Right?
And for you, I mean, people who are listening might wonder, like, okay, so you had a dream, like when you were a kid, to be a filmmaker. Like, how did a kid from, the north go to a movie theater with his mom and now do what you're doing today? Like,
Right.
what was that process?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I grew up in New York,
Yeah.
right? So I didn't grow up in Hollywood. I
Right.
didn't even know that was a job. I remember I was 11 years old and I went and saw my second favorite movie of all time, which became my second favorite movie. I saw the movie E.T. And, I was 11 and watching the screen. I remember tapping my mom at the end of the movie and I'm like, Mom, that's what I want to do someday. And she's like, what, you want to leave planet Earth in a spaceship? I'm like, no, Mom, I want to be a movie maker. And remember, I grew up in a town where I knew lawyers and doctors and people had businesses and teachers. And I didn't know anyone that did anything creative. And all I knew is when I looked up to the screen, it was something that really called to me. So I went to the library and I got books on cameras, lenses, storyboard. And I found out that Steven Spielberg, the director, would make movies every weekend. So I got my twin sister, my older brother, and I started making movies every weekend. I made murder movies, monster movies. I remember I made a kidnap movie, tied my sister up to the tree for this one scene. Afterwards, we go into the house to watch the movie. I still remember my mom going, I like the movie, but where's your sister? I'm like, well, was she still tied to the tree? What's wrong? Right? So I knew I was going to be a filmmaker.
Right.
Then I got to high school and somebody came up to me in high school and said, what are you going to do when you get out of high school? I said, well, I'm going to be a filmmaker. They're like, no, you don't want to do that. I'm like, yeah, no, I do actually. Like, no, you don't. Because if you want to be a filmmaker, you're going to have to move out to Hollywood. And Hollywood is filled with weirdos. And they looked at me and said, you don't want to end up a weirdo, do you? And I'm like, no, I don't want to end up a weirdo. And I'm telling you, right then and there, I gave up on my dream because somebody would tell me I would end up a strange weirdo. And, look, of course, today I do live in Hollywood. And my 4 kids would tell you, hey, daddy is a weirdo, right? So much for that. But look, at that point in my life, I gave up on that. And it's amazing to me, even telling that to you right now, how often in life we have a trajectory that we envision for ourselves or a dream or a goal, and we allow people around us to push us off of that goal, to make us not believe in ourselves, to taint that vision that we have of who we want to become. And so I gave up on it. My parents said, so what else do you want to do? I'm like, well, I want to draw because I love drawing since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I could do that my brother couldn't do as well, even though he's actually really good artist. But he's good. He's not great.
And it's,
he won't watch this.
He's not right now. It's fine.
Maybe he will. If you're watching, Jay, look, you have other skills, But look, so drawing was the thing that got that attention as a middle child at home.
Yeah.
My mom would put my artwork up on the fridge, And I just love drawing. I love creating. I love that feeling when you have a blank piece of paper and you take a crayon and you can create anything you can imagine.
Right.
Like that limitless possibility. That is so awesome. I still love that feeling. So I was going to be an artist. My parents eventually hired an art teacher to come to my house.
Wow.
And teach me to draw. And she actually said to me the first day, she said, Saul, drawing is about seeing. You have to develop your eye to look at the world a certain way. It's just like you were talking about wonderment, right?
Yeah.
Wonderment is a perspective.
Right.
It's a lens. If I choose to see the world through this lens, I will see the day in wonderment. I'll see the thrill of being alive. If not, I'll see the world a different way. It's a choice,
Right.
really. And she said to me, Saul, drawing is about seeing. You have to develop your eye to see the world a certain way. And she taught me to draw. And I remember after the first couple weeks, I'd be drawing. She wanted me to draw from life, all from life. And I remember I was drawing my sister and I was drawing people in the neighborhood. And I going to the bus stop and drawing. She goes, why are all the people you're drawing have no hands? Like she goes, does your sister not have hands? I'm like, no, she actually has hands. So why don't you draw the hands? And I go, because I just didn't get to it. She goes, you mean because it's hard? I'm like, yeah, it's true. She goes, okay, here's your homework. Your homework is every single night before you go to bed, you're going to draw 3 hands, your hand from different positions. And I did that. And in 6 months, I can tell you, I got really good at drawing hands. And she taught me one of the most valuable lessons in life, which is we need to get out of our comfort zone in order to turn our weakness into our strength. You see, that feeling that we get when we accomplish something we're good at, that's what we want. We will do anything to feel that when we look in the mirror, I have worth. I'm doing something that I do well. We don't want the feeling of something I don't do well. Even if I'm interested in it, if I don't do it well, I'm not gonna partake in it because I want that feeling of doing it well. That's what I mean by get out of our comfort zone. And when I drew a hand before, it was like not good. So I didn't want to draw that because it would give me that feeling of I don't do something well. She said to me, overcome that. Yeah. Because the goal is not to be great at drawing hands. It's to grow as an artist, as a business owner, as anything.
In life, I always like to say, find your uncomfort zone.
Oh, that's great.
Because when you find it, that's usually when you're on the brink of doing something amazing. And I think a lot of business people, they're not that way. Right. For me, like I'm a former theater kid thrown into the world of business. That's like my brand in a way.
Did you sing on stage?
I did a little bit of singing.
What's your best show you were in?
I never got
now I'm interviewing you.
Now we're interviewing me. Okay. I did Grease, but I really wanted to audition for Beauty and the Beast because I wanted to be Belle.
Wow.
But I didn't make it. I didn't make the cut because I broke my knee in high school.
Oh my gosh. Who breaks their knee?
I know, right? That's so weird. I ended up in like
break a foot. Who breaks a knee? How do you break a knee?
I took break a leg very literal.
You really did.
I understood the assignment. I just went right to the knee. Just kidding.
Wow.
No, but for me, like I think this, because I have this perspective, the work that I do today is different because I think as artists, as creators, as performers, we are supposed to go into a world that doesn't exist and create that world and have other people see that vision that we have. Yeah. And I think a truly successful business owner has to be a visionary. When you think of Walt Disney, you think of Steve Jobs from Pixar. Like these are all people that had a vision that no one else believed in.
Right. And to have that vision, you're taking a risk.
Right.
Because there's nothing proven. Right? If you're coming up with something that's fresh and unique, you can't point to a stat or a metric and say, hey, this worked right here. Right? You have to take a bit of a risk. As a matter of fact, I'll talk movie business for a minute. So in Hollywood, many people remember the movie Men in Black. So Men in Black comes out and the movie is huge, does huge numbers, and it has a sci-fi feel. It's Will Smith. He had a big music video for the song MIB, right? Like big. And whatever they cost, you guys go look it up on Wikipedia. Let's say it cost $100 million. Whatever it cost, go look how much it made in the box office, like 10 times that. So then the studio's like, well, let's do that again. Let's go do that again. So they got Will Smith back. They made another movie. Right. And they said, this time we'll put even more money into that movie. We'll spend $200 million to make, because now we'll make a gajillion dollars, right? And he made a movie called Wild Wild West. Did you ever hear that movie?
I haven't.
Exactly.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's the point, because they followed the formula. It was sci-fi. It was Will Smith.
Yeah.
It had a music video with Kool Moe Dee, if anyone's listening. That's old school. I just dated myself.
It's
Kool
all
Moe
good.
And they did, and the movie didn't do well, because you can't just always follow that formula. You have to innovate. Now, this is so crazy. The year that Wild Wild West came out, a group of filmmakers made a movie that cost a couple $1 million, not even, in a forest in Long Island with a video camera. And the movie made a gajillion times more than Wild Wild West. The movie was called The Blair Witch Project.
No way.
Have you heard of that movie?
Yes. I didn't know that budget was tight.
Oh, it was nothing.
Yeah.
They weren't, they were barely professionals. They were right out of film school.
Yeah.
But they took a risk. Right? You don't have to always look in business, in life, and don't look at what everyone else is doing and go, I'm going to do it like that because that's proven success, because it doesn't mean it's going to work again. Instead, stand on the shoulders of what everyone else is doing and say, how can I create something that makes me unique? Because here's the fact. Each one of us is unique. And because we're unique, we must have a unique purpose. No two people in the world can have the same purpose. And if anyone's listening, if you're ever like reading the trade magazines or some business magazine, you're like, oh, this person's so successful, and you resent them for it, they're not getting in your way. No one's in your way but you. We're not in competition with anyone in the world but us. And anytime anyone around us is successful at anything, all that should do is inspire us to innovate, to put ourselves out there, get out of our comfort zone, and tap into our unique purpose.
I totally agree. It's why my podcast is so odd in the world that I work in. They're like Bippity Boppity Business, aren't you? That weird, like what's going on with
Are you wearing Minnie Mouse's dress, by the way?
I am.
That's the Minnie Mouse version?
Yes, that is. I
That's
mean, it's
awesome.
from Amazon, but like, sure, it's branded Minnie Mouse.
It's so cool. But see, you're right. Like you're finding your niche.
Right.
Your unique niche. I mean, there's no one like you, right?
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
And
Bippity Boppity Business.
And the reason why I say that is because I completely agree. We all have something that we are special in and unique in our abilities that no one else can do. And there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
Like if you have that sensation or feeling where you're like insecure because someone's doing really well, it probably means that you're not comfortable with your own progress.
Right.
And it's a moment of reflection that you need to take for yourself.
Yeah, that's great. And, don't expect that you're going to be great right out the bat of anything. I have a quote that I say a lot. I say it to my kids. My son will be like, Dad, I'm going to try this. Is it hard to do? I'm like, it's only hard to do if you want to do it well. Right? If it's easy to do, then you're not doing it to your potential. And nobody wakes up great at anything. Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan because he took 700 jump shots every single day before breakfast. I mean, you go watch The Last Dance, watch the documentary, you'll see. After he wins the championship, the next day he's in the gym again. He's practicing again. He treated every day like, how can I reach my potential today? Am I really willing to put in that work? And, you asked me earlier, how did you achieve from being in New York to Hollywood?
Yeah.
Well, after I had that dream of wanting to be a filmmaker and putting that away, then trying to get into art and be an artist, well, then I saw another movie that changed my life. I saw the movie The Little Mermaid. And there go the goosebumps.
I know.
Right?
I feel it. Like anytime anyone says The Little Mermaid, I'm like, I can't. It's so
my whole body gets
because
goosebumps.
that song, part of that world, it's
Right.
like a call to something greater than yourself.
Right.
It's like
Part of your world.
Part of your world.
Don't
Sorry.
mean to correct Bippity
No,
Boppity Business.
I know, but like I'm thinking of the lyric. Fine, part of your world.
Right. Part of that world. You're
Part
right.
of your world.
Right.
Anyways.
Because first it's part of that world, then it gets part of your world.
Right.
So you're right.
Right.
You're
But
right.
it's just like that's how I processed it when I watched it.
Yeah.
It's like how do I be where the people are?
Right.
How do I go do the things that I want to do?
You're proving my point that I have shared so many times, and you just nailed it. Okay, I'm going to highlight what you just said. Okay, so first of all, I'm in the theater watching that. And think about it, everyone's seen this movie. Hopefully you've seen, if you're tuning in to Bippity Boppity Business, hopefully you've seen that. That's the prerequisite.
Yeah, that's like the requirement.
Exactly, that's a requirement. If you haven't seen that movie, hit pause. We'll wait. Go watch the movie. We're just going to wait.
Wait. Just kidding.
Okay. Right? But seriously, go pause, watch it, come back. Okay. So in that movie, you got Ariel under the sea, right? And then she sings the song Part of Your World. And there's this incredible lyric, this incredible line that Glenn Keane, who's the greatest Disney animator ever, he animated and designed The Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, Tarzan, many characters, Ariel. And he has this one lyric, he has to animate Ariel. And she says the lyric, what's a fire and
why does it? What's the word? Burn. Yeah.
So I'd rather her sing it than me.
Okay.
I'm not an idiot. I know when you got a voice like that, you let her sing. So what's a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn.
Yeah.
Just think about that for a second. When you watch any movie, any story, read a book, anything, the only way that story or movie is going to impact us, the viewer or reader, is if we can relate to that protagonist, if we can relate to what that main character is going through. When you watch Karate Kid, that movie's not about karate. If it was, it would only appeal to the 1% of the world that actually wants to be great at karate. That movie was about a kid that wanted to fit in high school. And we all know what it's like to not fit in. And by the way, it's not just high school, it's fit in life.
Right.
And then the end of that movie, spoiler alert, hopefully you've seen the movie now, people. And that's another prerequisite, right? Hopefully you've seen that movie. When he kicks, Johnny in the face and does that, we feel like that's us. Mm. When Luke Skywalker hits that final shot in episode 4, right? Spoiler alert, right? Use the Force. Use the Force means trust yourself, dude.
Right.
We all know what that feels like. So in The Little Mermaid, when Ariel is singing, what's a fire, why does it, what's the word, burn? Glenn Keane, this incredible animator, watch the pose that he draws for her. Animators are actors with pencils. We have to figure out what the acting, it's not just how well you draw, it's are you an actor, right? So a novice animator would have been like, what's a fire and why does it, what's the word? Whoosh, burn. Ooh, you know, could have acted out, or it could have been like, why does it, what's the word? Burn. Could have been like that, right? It could have been anything. So what does he do? Brilliant. This is what makes Glenn Glenn, okay? What's a fire and why does it, what's the word? Ariel takes her arms, puts them across her chest, closes her eyes, arches her back and goes, burn, and goes like that, and closes her eyes with every fiber of her being. There go the goosebumps. And in that moment, we're not watching a movie about a 15-year-old teenage girl. We're watching a movie about us, because when she's saying, what's a fire, what's the word, I want to understand the world. That's how we feel. That's what you were saying, right? We want to understand life. We want to understand that world. We want more. Now you're not watching a story about a mermaid. You're watching a movie about yourself. And when I saw that movie and watching that animation in that scene, I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to draw for movies. I love drawing. I love movies. Animation. Bam. That was it. Disney was the top. It just clicked for me.
Yeah.
And I was a junior in high school when I saw that movie. And I knew as a junior exactly what my dream was. I had clarity. My dream was to become a Disney animator. The only problem is I had no idea how to do it. You know, so often I meet people like, what's your goal? And they'll tell me their goal. I'm like, how are you going to achieve it? They're like, I don't know. Well, you got to figure out how. Look, you go to a great restaurant, you taste a great dessert, you want to make creme brulee or tiramisu at home, you can do it if you have the recipe. Well, I didn't have the recipe, but what I did have was the most supportive parents in history. And my mom took me to Disney World. Not my older brother, not my twin sister, takes me to Disney World just to walk me around Disney World, to ask Disney cast members, how can my son become a Disney animator? I remember getting on the It's a Small World boat ride. We're stepping on the boat, and the lady at Disney's like, how many in your party? We're like 2. We're getting on the boat. My mom's like, by the way, my son wants to be a Disney animator. Can you help him? The lady's like, ma'am, this is a boat ride? Like, we don't hire... It was actually very embarrassing.
Yeah.
But we eventually go through the boat ride. We come back. The lady's like, look, if you want your son to work at Disney, he's got to go to the Disney casting building. It was a couple minutes away from where we were in Disney World. So she drives me to this building. Can you imagine what a Disney building, office building looks like? Like whimsical. I remember it had the doorknobs from Alice in Wonderland, you know, right? That made out of
drive
brass.
by it all the time and look at it.
Isn't that cool? Did you ever open up? Did you ever go in there?
No.
You need to go in there. Promise me you're going to go in there.
If they let me, sure.
Anybody could walk in the lobby.
Oh, shoot. I didn't know.
I want a selfie of you in that lobby.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm so pumped for you. Because
That'd be
when you
amazing.
walk in that lobby,
Yeah.
open that door, you will see gold statuettes of all these Disney characters, Minnie Mouse, Pluto, Roger Rabbit, Mickey. It's all up there.
Yeah.
And even the air in there was like Disney air, like pixie dust in the air. And then this is so cool. You walk up this ramp, and on the left is a painting. It's been there for over 30 years of Walt Disney with a sketchbook. And then painted on the ceiling is Peter Pan and Wendy flying off to Neverland.
Wow.
You're going to love it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then I remember walking in there, and I was in high school, and I'm like, that's where I want to go. I want to go off to Neverland. Finally, I sit there, and the woman at Disney's like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I want to work as a Disney animator. I'm getting interviewed. She's like, well, we don't hire those here. I'm like, well, who do you hire? She goes, we hire people in the parks, people that, make the teacups spin around, or people that make the Dumbo ride go up and down. I'm like, that's not my dream. She goes, well, hold on a second. She walks out, comes back in 2 minutes later, hands me a piece of paper that became the most valuable piece of paper I ever held in my hands. It was a list of 8 schools, 8 art schools that Disney recruits their artists from. And she said, if you want to be a Disney animator, you need to go to one of these schools. Boom. That was it. That was the recipe. And I went eventually to one of these schools in Columbus, Ohio, Columbus College of Art and Design. One of the best design schools on the planet. It was an incredible school.
That must have been an amazing experience.
It was
to be with all of those creatives and the energy there.
Oh, yeah. And one reason it was amazing is because, growing up in New York, I didn't know any other people that were Disney fans like I was.
Right.
I get to school. The first day, I walk into some other guy's room, and he's got Mickey Mouse slippers, Mickey Mouse bedspread, Mickey Mouse lunchbox, Mickey Mouse phone, clock. It was like literally Disney World in a room. And this guy, I see his sketchbook, and I'm looking at his drawings, and he did tons of drawings of Mickey Mouse from all these different positions. I'm like, well, this guy's like Mickey Mouse crazy.
You're like, woohoo.
I never, right? Woo-hoo, right?
Yeah.
And I never drew Mickey Mouse before. I was a little intimidated. because I was drawing hands at home. He was drawing like Mickey Mouse hands, like the 4-finger white glove,
The animated ones.
Right? Then he walks in the room. He's like, "Hi, can I help you?" Because I was just like snooping around. And I go, "Hey, my name's Saul. What's your name?" And he says, "My name's Jason, but people call me Mickey Mouse Jason." I'm like, "They call you what?" He goes, "Mickey Mouse." I'm like, "I heard you. You have a Disney nickname?" He's like, "What? You don't?" I'm like, "No, I don't." I go back to my dorm room. I'm on the phone with my mom. I'm like, "Mom, if I'm going to fit in this school, I need a Disney nickname." And look, I was in a school where everyone wanted to work at Disney. And then a week later, a Disney representative comes from Disney Animation to our school to give a presentation to tell all of us what are the requirements to get into Disney. Yeah. And this guy stands on the stage. His name was Bill Matthews. He actually just died this year. Oh. He was one of the original animators on Sleeping Beauty. Wow. He had a white beard. He used to hang out with Walt Disney. Like, to me, it was Walt Disney himself. It was so incredible to see this guy who worked on Sleeping Beauty. He stands on that stage and he says, "Before I share what the portfolio requirements are, let me ask all of you a question." We're in this auditorium and there are 700 students in there, every freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And he looks out to us and he says, "How many of you want to be Disney animators?" Just a show of hands. How many? Every hand went up. And in that moment, he goes, "Just so you know, out of the 700 of you that are here, maybe, just maybe, 4 of you will ever work there. That's how competitive it is." And when he said that, I remember thinking one thing. I wonder who the other 3 are going to be. Because in life, we either believe in ourselves that we can accomplish or we don't. And at that point in my life, I really believed in myself. Then he says, if you want to work at Disney, you got to get the internship. No internship, no Disney. And in order to get that internship, you need a portfolio filled with hundreds of drawings of humans and animals from life. No cartoon characters, no Mickey Mouse drawings. I remember looking back at Mickey Mouse Jason.
You're like, "Sorry, Jason."
Sorry. You could see him like, "Oh boy,"
Yeah.
But like he said, you got to draw from life. And I just remember that feeling, that confidence I had. The confidence was not, "Oh, I can do this now." I knew I couldn't draw that well now. I knew it. Mm-hmm. I knew I was one of the worst artists in the school as an artist after a week. I knew it. The confidence I had was I knew I could become more than what I was. That's the crazy thing. Yeah. Confidence isn't what you can do. It's what can you become? Can you grow? I'm a dad. Am I a perfect dad? No. Guess what? I know I can become a better dad. I can become a better husband. Confidence should come from motivating yourself to see your potential. That's where confidence comes from. And by the way, just a side note, this fall, I'm taking my family to Columbus, Ohio, back to the school that I went to.
Really?
And the school asked me to speak, and I'm going to be speaking in that same auditorium for 700 students. And I'm going to say to them, "Guys, I was sitting right there." I'm going to tell them one thing. It's the same thing I'm telling everybody listening. Here's the facts. You are not listening to the voice of a really talented artist who got into Disney. You're hearing the voice of an artist who was the worst artist in his school that really, really worked hard and believed in himself and accomplished. And I'm telling everyone listening, the same message I'm going to give those students there. If Saul Blinkoff could achieve that, you could achieve 100 times more.
Wow. You're like the best hype man ever. I'm going to like replay this episode every morning when I get up, because for me, my dream has always been to work with Disney. People are like, "What do you mean with Disney?" I don't know, whether it's on the business side or maybe voice acting, who knows?
Oh, I would love to see you there.
All of that.
I think you would be great. We got to talk about that.
Okay. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is it's not about what you have now and what you're able to do now. It's about where are we going?
Right.
And how are we going to get there?
Yeah.
And who's going to help me get there?
Yeah.
And these questions in business are just as important, right? Like when I have a project that I'm trying to work on, let's say it's an ad campaign, right? And I want it to be really exciting and make everyone talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of money and it's just me. Am I just going to be like, we can't do that for our company?
Right.
No, we have to believe in it and go for it and achieve it. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about a little bit, is things that you've learned, after you've achieved these amazing things. The work doesn't stop there. There's still learning to happen, especially in the business side of what you do, right? So maybe you have a great character idea and you pitch it to a studio,
right?
But that doesn't mean that character is going to happen.
No.
Is there a budget? Like, talk to me about that.
You know what? Look, I started at Disney on Pocahontas in the 90s, right? as my kids call it, the olden days.
The best days. I do not want to
The
hear it.
best
The
days,
olden
right?
days.
Like wide leg jeans, Doc Martens,
Yes.
Boys to Men, that was my life. So after I started Disney, Pocahontas and Hunchback, Mulan, Tarzan, I worked on a lot of those classic movies and just had the best time living in Florida, had best friends and just living in Disney World. It was crazy, amazing. And then me and my best friend, we went and worked at MTV as a director. So we leave Disney. I become a director at MTV, moved to the Upper West Side, New York, Manhattan. And I direct a show for MTV called Spy Groove, which we did one season. You can go check out a clip of that show. It's a crazy show. That's where I really busted my chops as a director.
Right.
Where I became a director. It was very hard work, which I loved and thrived in. And after that show ended, one of the storyboard artists said to me, you know what, you should go meet with one of these people I know at Curious Pictures. It was a production company at the time. It's not there now. That make commercials. You'd be great because you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
And whether you're telling a story that's, an 88-minute movie or a 30-second commercial, storytelling is storytelling, right? Story is beginning, middle, and end. And you can tell a story in any amount of time if you know the structure and the tools to be able to do that. So we meet with these people and they're like, we're up for a commercial, actually. Let's see if you guys can win it. And the first commercial I was ever up for was for a major company, Mercedes-Benz, right?
Casual.
Right? Big budget commercial.
Yeah.
And the biggest budget commercials at the time, and still probably are, is shoe, soft drink, and car. Okay, those are big budgets, like millions of dollars on these campaigns. And we had to pitch a concept. So Mercedes-Benz came to us and said, here's what we know. We want something with a bull and a bear fighting because we want to show that the stock market, which is known as the bull and the bear market, are competing, but you can still count on the E-Class, Mercedes, whatever. That's our message.
Yeah.
What do we do? So me and my partner, Elliot, we basically had one day to come up with an idea. And we lock ourselves in a room and we get old Rocky movies and Raging Bull. And we come up with this whole vision of the bull and the bear statues coming to life down on Wall Street and then becoming anthropomorphic and fighting. And we storyboarded it out and pitched it to them. And we pitched them a style that wasn't just like Saturday morning cartoons or even just Disney. We pitched them a style that's rough animation. Basically, if you remember the Tarzan movie poster, is a drawing by Glenn Keane. And you just see the drawing. It feels just very alive. So we're like, let's just do a style that's different. So we go for that style. We pitch it to them with jazz music, this whole vision. And we find out we're up against Eric Goldberg. Eric Goldberg was the director on Pocahontas, animated the genie in Aladdin. Fantasia continues. I mean, he's one of the greatest, most talented animators alive today. We never directed anything before. We're up against the director from Pocahontas. Are you kidding me? And you know what? I didn't care because I knew one thing. I don't know what Eric Goldberg is doing today, but nobody's going to outwork Saul and Elliot. And we worked so hard. We pitched at Mercedes-Benz and we got it.
Wow.
And we got the job. And, the tool that anyone listening can walk away with hearing this story is, do not look at the competition. Oh, you're up against Eric Goldberg. Oh, he's a Pocahontas. No. Remember, like I said earlier, you're not in competition with anyone. Take the time you have and really be willing to put in 100% into what it is you're accomplishing. Because I really do find a lot that people are willing to put in the least amount of work to achieve the feeling of working hard. I told you earlier how Disney said that you have to do animal drawings to get into Disney, right? So we had a day in Columbus, Ohio, a freezing, bitter cold day. And on that day, me and my best friend Andy went to the zoo with like 15 other students. And we get to the zoo and it's freezing, bitter cold. We get right into this Wendy's cafe and everybody's getting hot drinks and the boys are talking to the girls, talking to the boys. Everyone's like hanging out. And then Andy and I go out and sharpen our pencils and we draw this elephant for like an hour, just walking back and forth, which is the greatest thing you could ever give someone who's studying animation, to have an animal repeat that motion over and over again. This elephant's just pacing back and forth and we're freezing and we're drawing this elephant.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we get onto the bus and I'm showing Andy what I drew. He's showing me what he drew. And I said to one of the other guys, I'm like, dude, we never saw you at the elephants. Where were you? What animal were you drawing? He's like, well, we weren't drawing any animals. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, none of us left the Wendy's. I'm like, what do you mean none of you left the Wendy's? He goes, well, we couldn't leave. I go, why? He goes, because it was too cold. I'm like, too cold?
You're like, too cold.
Too cold. What do you mean? I'm telling you, in that moment, I knew that someday I was going to get into Disney. because I wasn't afraid of the cold. You know, you watch a documentary about anybody that inspires you. Go to anybody in life that inspires you. Go to a married couple and you think they have a great marriage. You know why they have a great marriage? There's only one way. Because they invest an insane amount of work to make that relationship work.
Right.
You want to be a successful parent? Yeah, you're going to pick out the little booty shoes for your kid. They're going to be so cute. You're going to love those days. You're going to love taking your little newborn out of the bath. They smell so beautiful. Or taking your 7-year-old son or daughter to see Star Wars. Yeah, there's great moments like that. But guess what? You have to exhibit patience. You have to exhibit discipline. You have to do things you don't always want to do as a parent. You're going to have to put in hard work. You know, Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan because of an insane amount of hard work. And I knew at that moment, when that kid said it was too cold, I'm like, I'm going to outwork him. I'm going to get in there one day. And that's what I mean. We had one day for that Mercedes-Benz commercial, one day to come up with as many ideas as we could. We didn't sleep that whole night. I'll never forget it. We put in everything we had and boom, we won the spot, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's so powerful because that is a commonality I see with Disney cast members or really anyone in art or the film industry. You're dedicated to your craft and you're willing to go for it.
Right.
It's a combination of not how do I make this thing look pretty or feel good? How can I consistently do this to make this even better?
Right. That's a discipline.
Right.
The consistency. I'm just telling you, I work with lots of different people right now in the creative world. I just finished a show producing at DreamWorks. I was DreamWorks 4 years. But I'm just telling you, and if anyone's listening, don't overthink what I'm saying, or maybe you should, because I'm telling you right now, this is the truth. Out of all the artists I've worked with since day one to right now, and I've been doing this a long time, and I've worked with people at every studio, Netflix, MTV, DreamWorks, Disney, Amazon, you name it. I would say 15% of the people I've worked with are people that really work hard. Maybe less, maybe 10%. So often, even in successful shows, the attitude I have of many people is they're not willing to really put in that top work. But I can say on the show I was just doing at DreamWorks, it was probably the best team I ever worked with. This is real, because almost every person on that show was putting in 10 out of 10. And for everyone listening, remember carefully, it's not if you work hard, you will achieve your goal. You may not achieve that goal. I'm not going to tell you it's all, you know, it's a Disney fairy tale. You may not end up with your dream. It may not happen. But what you will get, no matter what, is the feeling of knowing that you gave it your all. That is success right there. And here's the thing. If you become a person who gives it their all, who really works insanely hard at something, if it didn't work on that thing, but you come out of it as growing as a human being and that discipline, like you mentioned, that consistency, it will work for something. It will work for your next project or the one after that. Go look at any movie that's successful. Believe me, directors, producers, writers, they failed so many times. But guess what? The most important thing it will work for is who do you become along the way? Because someday, I hope this doesn't sound morbid, but I'm going to die one day. My kids are going to see a gravestone with their dad's name carved on there. You think they're going to stand there and go, wow, I'm so proud of my dad. He worked on Pocahontas. All they're going to know is, you know what? Did my dad try to become a better father? The legacy that I want to leave my kids is that they know that I tried to grow as a human being. I wanted to make an impact, like you mentioned earlier, you know? So if we become a person that can work hard at career, we can become a person that works hard at growing at who we're becoming along the journey of life.
It's so true. I think a lot of people also in business too, they forget about the relationship part. They forget about it's not just what you do,
right,
but it's how you do it.
Yeah. By the way, every single person I hired on my last DreamWorks show, I said to each person in the interview, is it cool to be at DreamWorks? Yeah, it's awesome. Shrek, you know, all Madagascar and all these great movies, right? Is it cool to be working on a Madagascar show, which is what I was producing? They're like, yeah, it's awesome. But let me tell you, none of that matters if you don't go home feeling respected and appreciated every single day. Because I've worked on shows at Disney where I had a boss or two who were terrible. That's right. Even at Disney, you have toxic environments. I've had bosses who create great shows who are just terrible bullies. I've seen it. I've had bosses where you have a whole team of 100 people. The boss comes in, speaks their mind, leaves the room, and everyone's like, the air is sucked out of the room.
Yeah. It's not true leadership.
No.
It's just bossing
Right,
around.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And, there's a difference between bossy and being boss, right? And I can tell you, I knew that someday when I was in leadership, I wanted to create a culture that was going to empower. That's what leadership really is. When you're in a creative environment like that, and by the way, every business is creative.
Right.
You need creativity to do anything in life, right? Especially in business. But in any one of those environments, the number one tool you have to have, if you're going to succeed, is you got to leave your ego at the door. I'm a director. I'm a producer. People have those visions in their head of directors throwing things across the room and being very demanding. I want this and this and this. And yeah, there are some like that. And I know them and I've worked for them before. But I can tell you, when I became a director, I left my ego at the door. And when you leave your ego at the door, you can listen to another point of view. And the only way to create something incredible at the top level is to hear another point of view. George Lucas, Star Wars, incredible. When he started Star Wars, somebody asked him after the movie comes out, they're like, George, how'd that movie become so successful? What was the secret? He goes, you want to know what it was? I was forced to listen to the point of view of other people. He goes, because when I made American Graffiti right before that, and the little short films I made before, it was all my vision, exactly what I want. But Star Wars got to be so big, I had to empower my team, allow them to have a voice in creating. And because of it, they came up with things that only plussed what I came up with. You create together. And when you collaborate with a team and you allow another point of view to be heard, you're going to get something better. And by the way, it doesn't mean that you're going to be in a conference room and someone's going to say something that's going to be the perfect idea. No. It may be an idea that's just partly baked. It needs a little work. You work together. And in order for someone to feel comfortable to be able to share that point of view, you have to create in leadership a space where people know it's okay to fail. It's okay to throw out an idea that doesn't work. Because first of all, we'll get clarity what doesn't work. And number two is maybe that'll spark somebody else that will stand on the shoulders of your idea and come up with what does work.
Right.
Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. That's nice. Guess what? He did it 99,000 times wrong before the right one. And he knew after the first one didn't work, that's okay. Now I know that doesn't work. Let me try this. Let me try this.
It's almost how I feel about my podcast.
Yeah?
Like every episode that I try to do, I try to learn something from it or do better. And I think that's something a lot of maybe some businesses are afraid to. They're afraid to take the risks, to fail because they don't want to do it wrong.
Right.
But I think the only way you do something right is to learn how to do it wrong.
Right, because you said it, learn. You learn through failure. And that's the only way you get clarity. By the way, it goes for everything in life.
Right.
I remember years ago, my wife and I set up this guy to date somebody, one of our friends. And the date is finished. He comes back. I'm like, how did it go? He's like, what a waste of time. I'm like, why was it a waste of time? He's like, well, she's not for me. I'm like, that's not a waste of time. He's like, what do you mean? I told you she's not for me. I'm like, yeah, but you just got something. He's like, what did I get? I said, you now have clarity. You have clarity that this is not your soulmate, number one. That's clarity. And number two is you now know better what you're looking for in a soulmate. When we try something and fail, we not only learn what doesn't work, it should give us information to try what hopefully will work.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's the same thing for everything. I have to allow my kids to fail. Parents want their kids to be perfect because we want ourselves to be perfect. Failure is the only way we grow.
Speaking a little bit more about that, taking risks, willing to fail, all of those emotions, all of those mindsets are something that a lot of creators in your industry that you probably have worked with have, right?
Yeah.
One I'm thinking of particularly is Alan Menken.
Oh, yeah.
I know you interviewed him on your podcast, Life of Awesome, which, by the way, I'm going to link that below and let everyone know that his podcast is great. I've listened to it. He's interviewed people that what? Like the
Jodie Benson.
Little
Mermaid.
How did you interview? I mean, I know you're
And you got to hear her sing on that episode.
Oh, my gosh.
All I wanted her to do was sing like one little line. She does this medley I'm almost in tears.
Yeah, it's her voice just speaks to the soul. But were you able to work with Alan Menken at any point?
So, yeah, Alan, I mean, he wrote, of course, everyone listening, he wrote the music to Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and Pocahontas and Enchanted and tons more. But Alan Menken, I've known him for years and years. Pocahontas was the first one that I met him. I was an animator then, so I didn't work directly with him, but we met throughout the years. And yeah, I called him up and said, Alan, you gotta do this podcast with me. I gotta get your story. And again, on the episode, I say, hey, would you play a little something?
Yeah.
He goes over to the piano and does a 6-minute medley of all his songs.
Wow.
It was amazing. And one of the things from the episode that I remember learning is that he came from a long line of dentists, okay? His father was a dentist, his uncle, his grandfather, his brother. I mean, literally all dentists, and he's the musician. And right? And that just shows you, like, if you have a feeling, an interest to try to become something different than your environment, you got to go for it. Right. You know, I'll tell you, one of the things that people ask me all the time, probably number one question I get asked when I travel and speak is, okay, Saul, I hear your story. I hear you found your goal, your dream, and you achieved it. What about me? What if I don't have a dream? What if I don't know what my goal is? How do I figure that out? How do I get that clarity?
You have to try things.
You got to try things, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, people always say, like, people have gifts. So people say, oh, he's gifted, she's gifted. I think what people mean by that is this person was born with a certain ability. A certain ability. Right? He has a gift. She has a gift. Look how well she draws. She's so talented. She was born that way. Michael Jordan was born that way. Well, the truth is, I don't think gifts are what it is that we do well. Gifts are what is it that I'm interested in. If I'm interested in something, that means I notice music in a way that's a little different than other people. That's interesting to me. Now, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to invest to become great at it? Am I going to enjoy it? So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I like sports, but I can't be in the NFL. I can't be in the NBA. Okay, maybe you can. But go find out what a sports agent does.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to commit to being a sport. I didn't say you have to commit. Go date it. It's like dating.
Yeah.
If you meet somebody and you think right away that they're the one you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you get married that hour, you're probably going to be in trouble. Look what happened in Frozen.
Look at Frozen.
Right?
Hans.
I mean, Hans. She's like, right, finishing each other's sandwiches.
Yeah.
And look how that ended.
They finish each other's life.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
That's like dating is, I'm not sure I want to commit to this forever, but let me investigate.
Right.
And it's the same thing with career. It's the same thing with anything. If you have an interest in something, go date it. Find out more about it. And now start investing yourself into working at it. And then you will become great at it.
Right.
Right? That's how we have to approach it.
I think if anyone listening, if any of these things seem difficult for you to do, I think having a podcast is a really low-hanging fruit way to try to learn from people.
Yeah.
Because you can invite someone to sit down, ask for their perspective, and you're not doing anything wrong by having a conversation, but you are just networking. So,
and I love what you said. Mm-hmm. You said, man, like you are right. People listening, you're smart for listening to this podcast. Because see how she said, I want to learn? Mm. She's not here just to interview me. She's here to learn. That's the goal, period, right? You want to learn from people that you interview. And what's so amazing is you can listen to lots of podcasts out there. There's lots of people doing it, and you should.
Right.
But you're like, no. I want to learn. I want to ask the questions I want to ask. I even told you before you asked the question that no one ever asked me before.
Yeah.
So that's just your unique perspective and the way you see the world. You're going to investigate your way to find out the information you want. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Bippity Boppity Business.
And on that note, we're going to transition to our Disney Rapid Fire.
Come on, everybody. Here we go. Off to Question Land.
I love it.
So Disney comes to you. They're like, listen, the metaverse is happening. All right, we're investing in this 3D world. There's a video game we're going to make. What's the story behind this video game? Like, who are the characters?
Right.
Like, Oculus Rift, like, you got the virtual reality headphones on.
I mean, I don't know what the story is, but since I was a kid, I always wanted to fly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure a lot of people listening are like, yeah, I wanted to fly too. But, like, when I saw Superman, Christopher Reeve, and I used to stand on the steps, I think I did this a week ago. I'm not kidding. I'm still standing. My wife was, like, in a second-story window, and I'm down there, and I'm like, honey, I really think I can do it. I really think, you know?
She's like Saul.
And I think I can do it. And I try, and it doesn't work.
Why can't we just fly?
Yeah, but that's still, like, actually one of the greatest, I will say the greatest attraction at Disney I've ever been on.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, but the greatest. My favorite is still, like, you know, Peter Pan and Pirates and all the classics. But Have you done the Avatar ride?
Oh my gosh, Avatar.
Animal Kingdom?
That ride is mind-blowing.
Is that crazy?
You're literally inside a world.
That's crazy.
It's mind-blowing.
There they go again. The
Yeah.
goosebumps. Okay.
I need you to make one like that. But
Okay. Like that to me is, first of all, you're flying on one of those blue,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Whatever they're called.
Whatever those animals are. And I'm on this ride. I got my wife, my kids next to me,
Yeah.
and my in-laws. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you're lost.
I got my in-laws, okay? And you're on this thing, and it's like a virtual thing. It's like soaring over California, right? You have this giant screen. You don't know if the
Yeah.
screen's supposed to be real. You want to be in the story. I get that.
Yeah.
And you're flying over, what's the world in Avatar? What's the name of that country? Whatever. Somebody knows.
Does anyone know?
Somebody's screaming at
Oh my gosh, I'm so
right?
sorry.
So whatever it is,
Pandora.
Pandora. Is it Pandora?
Isn't it
Oh,
Pandora?
I was going to make up a word. There you go.
I think it's
Pandora.
Like, I'm pretty sure.
It's something Dora, right? Maybe it is Pandora.
It's not Dora the Explorer.
It's
but
like you opening that box, Pandora's box.
Pandora's box.
Bringing this around. So like you're there and the music and all of it, and you feel like you're flying. And they even had, leave it to Disney, they had the smell in there. But we're on this ride, Pandora, and you know, look, I'm a Disney guy, and I
Yeah.
grew up going to the parks, and I
Yeah.
worked there, and all. And I'm telling you, my brain went away, and I just experienced the thrill of flying, and I will never forget. In the middle of the ride, I realized I was experiencing something for the first time that I've never experienced, will never experience again, because there's only one first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at each of my kids, and each one of them, my daughter Naomi, she was like 7 at the time, and I have like a 9-year-old, and a 12, and I look at their faces, and each one of their faces are like how we started this interview, wonderment.
Wonderment.
But this part's crazy. Then I look over to my in-laws. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
My father-in-law has tears in his eyes. My mother-in-law has tears. They had the same faces that my kids had.
That's so crazy.
And I have goosebumps from it. I will never forget that feeling I had of seeing that, like you mentioned earlier, that inner child come out with them. And we were all just kids feeling the thrill of being alive. So to me, if I had all the stars aligned to create something, it would be something like that would give us the feeling of the wonderment of life, so that when the ride is over, the feeling doesn't go away. You know, when I take my kids to Disney World when they were little, I'll never forget, my wife and I, we're about to go to Disney World the first time. And we explained to them, like, you're going to go to this place and you're going to go to Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Like, what does the future look like? And you're going to go to, right? And Jungle Cruise and all these things about the world and history. But as great as it is to walk in there, it's even better to walk out, because life out there, it's actually real. You know, Tomorrowland, it's not just what Disney tells you it is. It's what you make of it. How do we take that feeling, that Disney magic, and bring it to our lives every day? So that's what I would do. Disney rapid fire. Sorry, I'm giving you too long answers.
But no,
I can
it's
go
okay.
quicker.
It's okay. Favorite snack at a Disney park?
Churros.
I have to be churros.
In a second.
Okay.
And my kids are screaming if they're listening. Dole Whip.
Okay, Dole Whip. I'm a Dole Whip person.
And they have a cookbook. There's a couple of them out, like the Disneyland cookbook. We
Yes.
tried to make it at home. It didn't work.
It's not the same.
And you don't want Dole Whip in your living room. You want it outside the tiki bar,
Yes.
right? That's where you want it. So Dole Whip and churros, like, that's standard for us.
Most underrated Disney movie soundtrack.
Oh my gosh.
I have an answer in my brain.
Well,
Right.
it's probably one of the greatest soundtracks. Here I go, the goosebumps again. And music's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
So the movie is Rescuers Down Under. The soundtrack is by Bruce Broughton. He also wrote the soundtrack to a movie I wonder if you've ever heard called The Boy Who Could Fly.
I haven't heard that.
Okay. So you got to check out that movie.
Yeah.
They used to use the music from Boy Who Could Fly at the Disney El Capitan Theater as the pre-show music. They also used to use the track from Rescuers Down Under at the fountain show at Epcot.
Really?
For all those years, for like all through the 90s. But the soundtrack to Rescuers Down Under, before there was Apple Music, it was $250. I bought it in the 90s because it was so, no one knew about it.
Yeah.
But one of the greatest, most uplifting scores. It really feels like, it's like the James Horner score for Rocketeer. It has that feel, it's uplifting. Also, just as far as just, you're talking songs or score, like you're talking music, right?
The whole thing, yeah.
The whole thing. Peter Pan, like just that those themes in there, they still, I don't know if it's the nostalgia of it, you know, it just takes me back, you know?
Yeah. For me, it's Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like it's one, it just speaks to me. It's crazy how they were able to weave like very deep ideals
Yeah.
and like themes into like
That's
a kid's
really
movie.
deep score. You're right,
Yeah.
right? Alan Menken wrote the music. By the way,
Yeah.
Alan Menken, everyone knows he wrote the songs for all these movies, but
Right.
he never thought of himself as a composer. And yet he won an Oscar for writing the score to Aladdin, which is incredible.
That's great.
Yeah, he wrote this, and he won an Oscar for that, for composing the score. People don't know that, but Hunchback is also one of his greatest scores. Really, really deep and powerful.
I was sad when it didn't go on Broadway. Personally,
Yeah.
I really wanted it.
Didn't
to.
it feel like it should have?
Yeah, I cry every time I hear "Out There." I don't know why.
Isn't
it's
that
that same
incredible?
"I want to be where the people
Can I
are"
tell
feeling.
you? Can I tell you? I was working on Hunchback, right? It was the
Yeah.
second movie I worked on.
Right.
And I remember on the airplane flying home from Florida to New York. And the movie hadn't come out yet. It was like 2 or 3 years before the movie came out. I was working on Hugo, Little Gargoyle, which I was drawing. And I was on the airplane. And I just gotten the music from the Disney management like 2 days before. And I just heard the song Out There, just like 2 days before. Tom Hole singing. And it was just a demo, okay?
Okay.
And I'm on the plane listening, and I'm freaking out over this. And I'm playing it over and over again. And this lady next to me was on the plane. And I'm like, I just had to share it with her.
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse me, we don't know each other, but I work at Disney. I'm an animator. I'm working this movie. Do you want to hear something insane
Yeah.
that the world will not hear for like 2 more years? And she was like, sure. I put it on her. Tears.
Tears.
Like powerful, right?
So powerful.
But by the way, that's another good message is that like when we experience something in life, the pleasure you will get from it is limited if you don't share it with another person. You know, Shawshank Redemption. You ever see that movie? One of
Yeah.
my favorite movies.
Phenomenal movie.
Andy Dufresne sneaks into the warden's office, whatever, and he gets this record player. And he starts playing this operatic, beautiful aria, and it's beautiful. And the first thing he does is he plays it on the microphone for the entire prison.
Yes.
Why would he do that? Because he understands that the pleasure I'm getting from this music, okay, it's amazing. But if I can share it with others, share that feeling with others, that will bring me something more than happiness. That'll bring me meaning. And that's how we have to approach life is how do I take my passions, my abilities, my interests, and turn them into a vehicle to serve humanity, to give to another person? Because then you do that. You're not just getting happy. You know, Disney is known as the happiest place on earth. I'll tell you what's even better. Real life, because real life is not the happiest place on earth. It's the most meaningful place on earth. And only when you do that can you get a life. Here we go. I need your help. Not a life of good, not a life of great, a life of awesome.
And I think that's actually a perfect segue because this has been a really fantastic interview. I hope you've learned a lot. I've learned so much, and I'm
Thank
so
you
uplifted
so much.
and excited.
It's so fun to talk to someone like you who has so much passion for life and Disney.
Yeah.
And I love that your messages you really want to share with your audience. I really appreciate that. And for everyone listening, I just want to tell each and every one of you how much I personally appreciate you tuning into this episode. And I urge you to share it with people. And if you hear something that speaks to you, anytime you hear an interview or a TED Talk or you read a book, don't just leave it inspired because inspiration will come and go. One minute you'll remember what they said. The next minute you're like, what did they say? I don't
Right.
remember. You got to write it down. Anytime you hear something that speaks to you, it sounds like, yeah, that sounds right. Write it down and go back to it again and again. And I'm so humbled to be here, honored by you who want so sincerely to make an impact and are making impact. And I wish you so much continued success in everything you're doing.
Thank you, Saul.
Yeah.
And if you forget to write things down, just go listen to Saul's podcast, Life of Awesome.
Life of Awesome.
Where can we find it? Everywhere?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Everywhere you listen to podcasts. You can check me out on Instagram. My last episode I did was actually a couple months back. My wife's like, when's the next one coming out? I'm like, honey, don't worry, it's coming soon. But I just interviewed Lea Salonga, you know, the singing voice of Mulan, Jasmine, right? Incredible.
I know, amazing.
And what I do is I weave in all the music from her career into the episode.
Wow.
And you got to hear her tell her story and sing it along the way. She's incredible. But yeah, please check out the podcast. And again, I'm just so grateful to be here. And I wish everybody out there just a real moment today where you look at yourself in the mirror, realize you're unique, realize you have a unique purpose, get out of your comfort zone, realize it's okay to fail, allow yourselves to fail, and realize that true meaning doesn't come from what we accomplish. It comes from the fight along the way. The fact that we wake up every day, we know that we're striving to impact another person. You know, Winston Churchill has an amazing quote. He said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Bippity Boppity Business. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple or listen to us anywhere you prefer listening to your podcast. Until next time, have a magical day.